This video is sponsored by Skillshare. I first started the piano when I was 8 and I hated practicing. You are not stuck with the skills that you have. You are able to learn new things. Hello everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day today. If you're new here, hi, my name is Katie. I'm a music teacher here on YouTube and I also have my own private studio. So even though I'm a professional educator, there's something that you have to know about me, and that is I was a terrible student and I really struggled with learning in my early adolescence, my childhood. It was a mess. I hated school, and the reason why I hated school is because it was hard for me. And that struggle really carried over into basically all other disciplines of my life, including my musicianship. I first started the piano when I was 8 and I hated practicing. Absolutely hated. I later on developed a passion for how people learn because I struggled so much as a child. And I earned my teaching degree specializing in early childhood education and Spanish, and later earned my middle childhood education degrees as well as my bilingual ESL, ELL certifications. So needless to say, I've learned a lot about learning and how people learn and best practices, also through trial and error, working with students of all ages. It's really helped me dial in my own practice routine and how I learn, and helped me dial other people's practice routines so that it fosters a positive environment for learning. So here are 4 practice routine mistakes that I think you're making, because I have made them. I have made all of them, and I continue to make all of these mistakes, and I've also seen my students struggle with these 4 things as well. So we're going to dive into the what are you struggling with, why are you struggling, and then how to move past those mistakes. So the first practice routine mistake that you're making has to do with your schedule, and that is because your practice times are too sporadic. Now, the reason why you're probably not seeing improvement, it's because you are not consistently working on your skills. I understand life gets busy. I am a busy mom of 3 girls, and I run my own business. It can be a lot. I completely understand. So here's the practical tip. Schedule your week on Sunday night and don't go too far ahead. Look for pockets of time that are as consistent as possible and schedule it. If you schedule day by day, you'll end up doing something else and keep pushing it off to the wayside. Scheduling the night before or on Sundays to plan my days has helped me make practicing less overwhelming, alongside with the many other things that I have to do in a week. And let's be honest with ourselves, we'd find 15 to 20 minutes to spare easily if we just put our phones down. Check your phone usage. How many minutes have you spent scrolling? Could you have used that small portion of that time practicing? Probably. So scheduling that time and making sure that it is a priority is going to serve you in the long run. So the more that you practice, the easier it is to be able to retain the information and the muscle memory that you had gained days before. So speaking of time, this brings me to mistake number 2, and that your practice sessions are actually too long. I think sometimes having too long of a practice session may result in fatigue, either physical or mental, or it could result in frustration because you've been at this for such a long time. And then when you want to practice the next day, or you have scheduled your practice for the next day, you look at that long period of time and you just think that is going to be a long time to suffer. So here are some practical tips to fight that. First of all, think small. Practice for small amounts of time. For example, you will improve your skills and retain more information better if you choose to practice 20 minutes 4 to 5 days a week rather than 60 minutes once a week. Brain research has shown that practicing for small increments of time frequently is better than one long practice session 1 day a week. I am so guilty of this because when I was practicing my piano, I was supposed to practice for 80 minutes a week. Well, what happened is that I would only practice for 80 minutes 1 day a week rather than splitting it up into smaller chunks. And you know what? My progress was very slow. Surprise, surprise. But when I started martial arts, I would be at the dojo 6 days a week. And I would be practicing and practicing and practicing. And I was really advancing quickly in rank, and later on became an instructor as a teen. You see a direct correlation there. I started to realize that just that little bit of practice over a long period of time was served me better. And I've been able to adapt that over into other disciplines of my life. Just small chunks. It's less overwhelming. It's less bored. You can always increase the time. Don't let 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes even, be the time that you're married to. Go ahead and start working on it. Number 3 is that you were overly ambitious, you chose a piece, and now you find yourself overwhelmed and frustrated. So here's why that doesn't work. Sometimes when we get really excited and really inspired by a concert or something that we've seen online, or we come back from a music camp and we just want to tackle everything. We're really, really motivated at that time. There's nothing wrong with that. But taking on too much actually may cause you to be overwhelmed rather than inspired. It'll cause the opposite, and that is to be uninspired. So the first practical tip is to take a break from the piece and come back to it later. There is nothing wrong with that. You are not a quitter. You are not a failure. You're just not there yet. Instead of the piece that you're currently working on that's causing you frustration, look for a piece with similar required skills, but just less of them. So for example, instead of a piece with 4 new chords, find one with just 2 new chords. You could also break down the song into parts and just learn the chorus instead of focusing on the entire song, so it's less overwhelming. Something that I tell my students and something that I do myself is that I don't focus on the entire piece. I focus on 1 measure at a time, 2 measures at a time, 3 measures at a time. I try not to overwhelm myself because then I think that I have to get through this entire piece, and then I get frustrated once my 20 minutes is over because I feel like I got nothing done. So breaking something into smaller parts, or maybe taking a break from that overwhelming piece to focus on something else that is a little bit below that level of that difficult piece, will help you ramp up your skills to be able to tackle that hard piece later. So before I go into the last point, which I think is actually the most important point, I want to stop and thank Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for anyone who loves learning and wants to explore their creativity and learn new skills. Invest in yourself and your personal growth. Have you a specific skill you're trying to learn? Skillshare is the perfect place to start. From photography to music to graphic design, productivity, and more, you can find classes that will match your goals and interests. It is ad-free, so you can stay in the zone while you're exploring new skills. New premium classes are launched every week, so there's always something new to discover. I love the fact that this online learning platform is so well organized with such a diverse variety of courses. You can use the search bar to explore their course options, or Skillshare will help you get started by narrowing down your preferences and give you suggested courses to start. I first heard about Skillshare from various other YouTube channels while trying to research and absorb advice on productivity. Since joining Skillshare, I feel like I have grown. The advice that I have learned from productivity experts such as Mike Farty when I took his course Productivity Habits That Stick using time theming has helped me structure and dial in my routine more, and has helped me carry over those good habits over to my practice routine as a musician. I also took a course by Mike Boyd called How to Learn: Strategies for Starting, Practicing, and Mastering the New Skills You've Always Wanted to Learn. He also has a YouTube channel, and it's all dedicated to learning new skills from scratch, and then he documents his journey. One thing that he said that really started to solidify in my own training as a musician, but also as a content creator, a mom, is that you are not stuck with the skills that you have. You are able to learn new things. So as you learn a new skill, even if it's not related to music or just what you're directly trying to learn, you're priming your brain to expand that capacity to learn and expand that capacity to grow in other areas of your life. Interested? Well, Skillshare has given me a link that is in the description box below, and the first 1,000 people to use this link will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. So don't forget to visit that description box below. Why? Because it's free. Now, this brings me to the last, but also the most important point, I think, why your practice routine is not working is that you're too hard on yourself when you start to struggle. The reason why beating yourself doesn't work, it's because you're basically telling yourself that you can't. And if you say you can't, well, then you can't. And I'm very, very, very guilty of this one because as soon as I hit that struggle, it's like, oh, I'm a failure. I should have known that I shouldn't have started this. And that doesn't serve anyone, especially yourself. Struggle is not a sign of weakness. It's not a sign that a failure even. It's just everybody goes through something, some sort of struggle somehow when learning something new. So here are the practical tips. You've heard me say this over and over again. Focus on your progress and not perfection. Focus on getting 1% better with each session. See each day as a good, hard day's training. Mike Boyd also said that with weightlifting, you wouldn't expect yourself to be super strong after just one lifting session. It would be after months and maybe even years, but you will see results little by little by showing up and doing the reps. That's really important. Just thinking about that little bit that you can do each day to move the needle forward. Visualize your practice sessions or your musicianship overall as a gauge or a meter with a little needle. Ask yourself, not did I get it right, but did I move the needle forward? You scheduling your practice sessions is moving the needle forward. You picking up your instrument or warming up your voice for a little bit, sitting in front of the piano, just being there is moving the needle forward. Practicing for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, that short amount of time that you had to practice is moving the needle forward. It is still forward progress. That little progress is going to end up with bigger results than if you had just practiced for a really, really long time, sat for the session, and then beat yourself up for not progressing. Those things don't help you. And I know that because they have never helped me. So those are my 4 reasons why your practice routine probably isn't working, why it's not working for you, and some practical tips how to fix them. And also don't forget to visit Skillshare. The link is also in the description box below. I hope you have a wonderful day. I know you can do it. I know the struggle can be real, but remember there is beauty in that struggle. Anything good is worth fighting for. Remember, you are loved. I will see you soon. Bye.